Our first reading is taken from the book of Judges in chapter 3, a portion. In this reading, we will hear about an amazing judge of the Lord, Ehud, in Hebrew, Ehud. He will be sent by the Lord to defeat the Israelites' enemies at the time, Eglon, king of Moab, and people of Ammon, people of Amalek. But when the children of Israel cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer for them, Ehud, the son of Gera, the Benjamite, a left-handed man. By him the children of Israel sent tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Now Ehud made himself a dagger. It was double-edged and a cubit in length, and fastened it under his clothes on his right thigh. So he brought the tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man. And when he had finished presenting the tribute, he sent away the people who had carried the tribute. But he himself turned back from the stone images that were at Gilgal, and said, I have a sacred message for you, O king. He said, keep silence. And all who attended him went out from them. So Ehud came to him. Now he was sitting upstairs in his cool private chamber. Then Ehud said, I have a message from God for you. So he arose from his seat. Then he had reached with his left hand, took the dagger from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. And even the hilt went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, for he did not draw the dagger out of his belly, and his entrails came out. Then Ehud went out through the porch and shut the doors of the upper room behind him and locked them. Our second reading is taken from the work, The True Christian Religion, number 603. You can see that on your backup order of service. When a judge has heard or read a long series of cases compiled by an advocate, he groups them together to form a single view in the upper region of his mind, so as to make a universal principle. Then he lowers his gaze to the lower region of natural thought, and there arranges his arguments in due order, giving his judgment and sentence in accordance with the upper region of his mind. Is anyone unaware that a person can, in 1 or 2 moments, think about and reach a conclusion on matters which would take him as much as an hour to spell out by means of his lower thought? These instances are quoted to show that the human mind is divided into lower and higher regions. Amen. Are you cheering on Team Canada in the Winter Olympic Games? We are amazed by the athletes' performance and their amazing capability. We wish we could have that agility and strength. Did you cheer on Team Canada when they won a gold medal in 5,000 meter relay short track skating? At the same time, they were beating South Korean team. I didn't watch, so I cheered for none. Hopefully our nation and our community could be united as we all together unanimously cheer for our athletes in Olympic Games. Unfortunately, the children of Israel didn't have that many opportunities to cheer for their nation and their people. As we see in the reading of this morning, they were a very distressful state. They were under control of other people, king of Moab, the people of Ammon, and people of Amalek. They were desperate for help. And they will cry out to the Lord for his help, and the Lord will listen to that, and he will send his amazing judge, Ehud, to save them. We may wonder why that many times the children of Israel were suffering from oppressions and controls from other people. Although the Lord was with them, the Lord has chosen them to be his people, because they did evils before the Lord, and they turned away from worshiping the Lord, and even they forgot about the Lord. So as a result, the Lord could not be with them anymore, and they fell on praise to other people around them. So when they got into that trouble, other people, other enemies, attacked the Israelites and made them their slaves. And we may think this is the punishment from the Lord. But the reality is not that, because we know that we reap what we sow. Their evils actually entailed another kinds of evils. We may call them punishment, but we clearly know that our action and our choice dictate the consequences. So if we hurt our friend's feelings, the friend cannot be kind to us anymore. We may lose our friend. And if we violate, if we break the laws, there will be some serious consequences. So the Lord really did not punish them, though in many places in the Word, it is written in that way, but people are brought on those things to themselves. Actually, the Lord very diligently helped them. When they cried out for help, the Lord never ignored. So when the people had trouble under king of Mesopotamia, Cushan Rishathaim, the Lord sent his amazing judge, Othniel. So this mighty man led the people in battles and wars against Mesopotamian people, and the Lord gave them peace. But the problem, he died. He cannot live forever. After his death, the children of Israel went back into troubles again, evils again. And they cried out for help again. And this time the Lord will send them a Benjamite, left-handed Ehud, to save them. So he was left-handed. He was hiding his dagger on his right thigh, and he will use it. So when the children of Israel did evils again, other nations, the Moabites, the king of Moabites, Eglon, and he came and attacked. And he came with lots of other people. He brought in together with people of Ammon and people of Amalek. And they came and occupied the city of palms, which was Jericho. Jericho means in the word the cognitions of good and truth, and also a goodness from our truth. But considering the nearness of the city to Jordan River, so what is meant by Jericho in terms of truth and goodness are very introductory. as the Jordan River as the gate and the entrance into the Holy Land. So think about when evils occupy our system, our mechanism of producing goodness from what we know, what we have learned. It's really bad spiritually. We cannot have any goodness, and eventually we will lose all truth we have. And this is very clear from the representations from these evil people. Moabites symbolically mean adulterated good. That means because we have many evil desires and evil affections. By having them, we destroy all goodness we have. And people of Ammon represents falsified truth. And we take on too much false ideas and bad ideas out there and maybe secular things to us. By having them, the Lord's truth cannot survive within us. So we turn and we falsify all the truth into false ideas. And Amalekites, they were very evil people. They represent some false ideas, falsity from our interior evil. There are various kinds of falsities. We may have a falsity from our heresy. We may have a falsities from our limited senses. But this is the worst one. We have sometimes falsities because we have evils within us. And we want to justify our evils. We want to make it sense. So we invent, design, all kinds of terrible ideas. So think about these people, and these evils and false ideas occupy our mind, where we need to we need to produce goodness. And we cannot function. We cannot produce the Lord's goodness from what we have learned anymore. This is a serious problem. Then what happened? The children of Israel had to pay tribute to these people. So Ehud actually joined that, and he brought tribute to King Eglon. So obviously he's supposed to bring many precious things. Can you see these wonderful things? The precious stones and gold. These things represent our heart, our love. We have various loves and affections, but when evil people occupy our mind and heart, we cannot utilize, we cannot activate the loves we have. These are taken away from us. We're supposed to love the Lord. We're supposed to love our neighbors, friends, and siblings, brothers and sisters, though sometimes it's very hard. But all these capabilities are taken away from us and given to evil people. We cannot use them anymore. That's not the end. I think you can recognize that. This is our reading from Book of Judges this morning. Oops, it's upside down. We are losing all kinds of truth. When those evils and false ideas occupy and make it our system malfunctioning, we're losing our teachings we have learned from the word of the Lord. So we cannot think properly. We cannot love properly. This is a really serious problem, because this is the way of serving evil people, oppressors in the ancient time. And this is the way we serve when we have lots of bad ideas and evil desires in our minds. So the Lord sent his judge to save the people. And actually the Israelites cried out for help. The Lord save us. The Lord deliver us from this problem. because they had to serve Eglon, king of Moab, for 18 years. That's very long. And number 18 is made by 6 times 3. And that means it's some struggling process. We have a certain truth, but we cannot use them, and we have a problem. So for 18 years, they had to serve Eglon, king of Moab, and the people of Ammon and Amalekites. And the Lord sent, He raised His church, Ehud. What's the bio of Ehud? What's the curriculum vitae of Ehud? He was a son of Gerar, and he was a Benjamite, and he was left-handed. So we know that tribe Benjamin represents truth from goodness. And he was left-handed because we know that as we read from Hebrew, it starts from right to left, and all ancient language was used that way, starts from right hand and to the left. Because the right side represents goodness and love. But he was left-handed, in a way second-handed. That means truth. Because always goodness is primary, love is prime, and truth and wisdom is secondary. And think about if you are left-handed, you have many handicaps. A right-handed person can stand like this, hold a weapon, right hand, and you can protect your heart, put it back. But left-handed person should stand this way and you expose the most important organ to the enemies. So left-handed, left side means secondary, truth. And right side means the Lord's goodness. So everything indicates that He is the truth. So when we dealing with those problems, those issues in our heart, in our mind, so that we cannot produce the Lord's goodness from the Lord's truth anymore, we need the Lord's truth. And this is very clear. The children of Israel could not handle their enemies by themselves. They had to pray to the Lord. They had to ask for help. This is very important. We cannot handle our evils by ourselves. We need the Lord's help. And the Lord will send us the proper, very appropriate truth to deal with our specific problems. Ehud was very wisely planning out his plan. So he brought tributes, and then he offered them to king, and then he came back to see the king, and he said, I have a message for you. So he requested private moment in the upper room. So he had a very private moment, and he brought out his dagger, supposed to be 1 cubit from here, and double-edged, a little shorter than a cubit. But he put it his right thigh. Why? Because he was a left-handed person. We normally maybe put here so that we can take it out quickly. But his case, he put it here. From goodness, he used the truth. So it sounds like we always need some good motivation first. We have that goodness, that desire. I want to fix this problem. The Lord help me. I have this issue. The Lord, I cannot deal with it by myself. Please help me. And the Lord will provide the proper truth, fighting truth. And he applied this dagger all the way. Even the handle goes into the belly of the king. And even he didn't take it out. He didn't bother. He leave it there and he ran away. Let us remember that the Lord saved the Israelites though they habitually turned away, forgot about the Lord. They didn't care about the Lord anymore, and they got into troubles because of their evils. When they cried for help, the Lord always listened to them, never ignored their urgent request. And the Lord sent His men, His judges, to save them. So, unfortunately, we have the similar habitual thing. We're getting better, and we have a peace, and we go back to maybe former evils, and we may pick up something brand new evils. We may be ashamed, but we should ask the Lord for His help again. And the Lord will listen to us, and He will help us. He will give us the proper, the right truth we can utilize, we can use it against our that specific evil desires and false ideas. But we need a break from continually paying tributes to evil desires and thought. We need to uplift up. We need to face this evil man, this evil issue in upper chamber. Because in the upper chamber, which means our higher mind, the Lord's truth is far more obvious, very clear. We can see that in clarity. And the Lord's mercy and His love is right available. We can feel it there. So we need to take our problems to upstairs when we cannot deal with it in our daily lives. And in the upper room, in upper chamber, the Lord's truth are available. And the Lord's presence is felt instantaneously. Because in our mind, in a higher mind, the Lord can be present more directly, more immediately. And in the upper chamber, Ehud could deal with Eglon, king of Moab. That's why we have a sanctuary upstairs in the second floor, and we have a minister's offices in the second floor. We need a moment. We need to rise above all these secular things and the former way of doing, because we in a way stuck there. We need to bring this issue into a higher mind, higher chamber, so that the Lord can be right there to help us. And let us not be ashamed to ask for help. Unfortunately, we keep doing bad things. We keep distance from the Lord. And sometimes we turn away from the Lord. But we need to bring this issue to the Lord, and He will listen to us. He will help us. Let me read a sentence from the Word. He waters the hills from His upper chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works. Amen.